At Interstate Welding and Steel Supply, we strive for excellence in all of our products and services. From medical, food, and industrial gases, including propane, to steel, aluminum, and other metal materials, we have everything you need for your business or personal needs. Visit one of our 2 showrooms for welding equipment, truck and trailer supplies, power tools, and so much more. Our professional sales team will help you find exactly what you need. Call our Marble location at 888-613-8284 or our Blue Ridge store at 706-900-1000. Plus, you can always visit us online at interstatewelding.com.
Hey y'all, it's Elise from Rusty Wallace Chevrolet. It's football time and you know that's the best time to buy a car.
Whether it's a new truck, car, SUV, or certified pre-owned, we've got what you're looking for.
And all new vehicles come with our exclusive 7-year, 200,000-mile warranty.
Also, choose from Fords, Hondas, Toyotas, Nissans, Chevrolets, and more. Find new roads to RustyWallaceChevrolet.com.
Where Chevys cost less.
And the Jackets will carry a state championship back to the mountains.
The Yellow Jackets aren't the only ones who dig deep to find success. So do the fine folks at Graves Directional Drilling. You can rely on Graves Directional Drilling to guide you through every step of the project at hand. Graves offers site evaluation, project development, design development, blueprints, site logistics, safety programs, quality control, materials, directional drilling, trenching, and site cleanup. Call Stephen Graves at 706-897-0374. Graves Directional Drilling, proud supporter of the Hayesville Yellow Jackets and 389 Country.
Looking for a way to become more active? Check out the Clay County Recreation Center. From walking and biking trails, to a workout room, to a state-of-the-art pickleball court, the Rec Center has something for all levels of physical activity. They even have an airfield for RC pilots. And don't forget about all the sports leagues for the kids. Visit the center at 333 Ballpark Drive in Hayesville or call 828-389-0368.
The views and opinions expressed on the Morning Buzz are not necessarily those of 389 Country advertisers, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, or Google Podcasts.
But they should be.
This is the Morning Buzz.
Good morning, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav on the radio. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz on a Tuesday. 2 for Tuesday. Expect double shots from your favorite country music artists throughout the morning. I hope all is well. I hope you had a great Monday, but I hope I can help make your Tuesday even better, at least to start off with. I have no control over what happens to you after 10. That's Josh David's fault. Oh, I am so glad to be with you this morning. But it is cold out there right now. If you're listening live in the tri-state, whew, if you haven't stuck your head out yet, you're in for a shocker. No surprise, big frost on and big cold on. We'll talk about it more in depth here in just a couple of minutes when we take a look at weather. But first, let's talk about what we've got on today's show. It is Tuesday, so 2 for Tuesday, like I mentioned. Also, chaos from around the world and political chaos from around the world, including these stories. One I'm calling Texts of Many Colors. There's a hint in there you could probably figure out. Also, why didn't I think of that? All of our inflation problems have been solved. Just wait till you hear what the man in charge has come up with now. And Android wins again. You iPhone users, I got another story for you that should make you question why you buy into the brainwashing. And Fruity Loops, just when you thought that everybody had calmed down on social stuff, nope. And, of course, the crazy news story of the day. All that and more coming up over the course of the next 3 hours. But you know the drill. We can't do anything until we officially start your day. And to do that, we rely on our old buddy Doug. Doug, go ahead, my man. Today is Tuesday. It is November the 28th. Today is National Allen Day. If your name is Allen, round of applause for you. It's also Red Planet Day. I'm guessing Mars. It's National Day of Giving. It is hashtag Giving Tuesday. We've got a story coming up on 389country.com later today about Giving Tuesday and how a certain company is really going all out today. Well, not just today, but keep an eye out for that. I think it's like noon today when that comes out. And it's National French Toast Day. Will you celebrate? Are you celebrating now? Who knows? Who knows? You could be. And taking a look on this day in history, this is a fascinating story I found this morning. Well, I found it fascinating. On this day in 1720, female pirates Mary Read and Anne Bonny went on trial and were subsequently convicted and sentenced to death. Their executions were postponed, however, because both were pregnant, and Bonny was eventually freed, though Reed died in prison. Shockingly enough, this is not the only time we're going to talk about pirates today. Stay tuned. And let's see here. In 1989, Queen Latifah released her debut album, All Hail the Queen, and its success helped redefine the traditionally male genre of rap. No, we will not be tuning into that. And in 2012, Peter Jackson's The Hobbit, An Unexpected Journey, the first in a series of movies based on J.R.R. Tolkien's book, had its world premiere in New Zealand. We love all of the Lord of the Rings movies. They're just so good. And let's see. Now, that's it. That's all that matters. With that, it's time to take a look at weather, brought to you as always by North Georgia Sign and Apparel. Cold, darn cold. That's all you need to know. It is cold. It is 27 degrees right now in Hayesville, mid to upper 20s all across the tri-state, depending on your elevation. Now, it's not as cold as we expected. Yesterday, I think I said expect a low around 21, and then I heard another radio station in the area yesterday saying a low of 15. They really missed it. For today, mostly sunny and chilly. A stretch of dry weather will end later this week. But today, looking like 44 for the high. Tonight, maybe this is where old friend was getting his information. 15 degrees tonight for the low. Y'all, I don't even want to move tomorrow. For Wednesday, plenty of sunshine, a little warmer, 50 for the high. Wednesday night, low of 27. Then Thursday, way warmer, mostly sunny and milder, high of 60. Right now, I am, last week was Thanksgiving. I am so thankful for this little heater that we put in a few weeks ago. I was so dreading this morning. I know there are big problems. People actually have big problems, but some of you don't know. Last winter, there were days where I was sitting here just freezing to death, like bundled up. No heat in here, or minimum heat, but right now, I think it's like 73 in here. I'm toasty. But anyway, with that, we have officially started your day, brought to you today by Jackie Jones Ford of Hayesville. Welcome back, buzzers. Some people having some issues with volumes this morning, and I don't know why. Everything is set to where it always is set. So, You remember yesterday morning we started off a little rocky? I don't know anymore. I just don't know. All I know is I'm warm. And it's time to jump into the music. I'm going old school this morning and start things off. Here's a little Buck Owens. Time now for the 411 for the 389. Israel and Hamas have agreed to extend their temporary ceasefire deal for an additional 2 days, with Hamas agreeing to release at least 20 more hostages in exchange for the release of 60 Palestinians held in Israeli prisons. The extension comes after the two sides yesterday swapped a fourth group of Hamas-held hostages and Israeli-held prisoners, completing an original 4-day deal brokered by Qatar, Egypt, and the U.S. Now, you notice something there. Hamas released hostages. Israel released prisoners. Just making that note. Changing gears, the Chinese court held its first hearing yesterday of a liability lawsuit filed by relatives of more than 40 passengers on the Malaysia Airlines flight that vanished in 2014. Families argue the airline neglected to search for the plane after it vanished and are seeking a fund to search for the missing aircraft, civil compensation of between $1.4 million and $11.2 million each, and damages for mental distress in the amount of $4.2 million to $5.6 million each. It is crazy. We still don't know what happened to that plane. And in news I know you are worried about, opening arguments began yesterday in the racketeering trial of Atlanta-based rapper Young Thug, who faces allegations his record label has operated as a criminal street gang for a decade. The case was launched by Fulton County District Attorney Fannie Willis, the same prosecutor overseeing a different racketeering case against former President Donald Trump for alleged election interference in 2020. Who would have thunk that Young Thug may have been doing something illegal? Shocking. And that is a look at the 411 for the 389. You can find more on those stories and other stories for free over at 389country.com. How about our first double shot this morning on a 2 for Tuesday? Mr. Brad Paisley has the honor. It's a little early, but alcohol. Double shot of Brad Paisley there on a Tuesday morning. I hope your Tuesday's going well as you get ready to head out to the job site, to the store, to the office. Ooh, I mixed it up this morning. Heck, maybe even a school. No matter where you're going today, dear friends, expect to at some point be surrounded by those who make it obvious to you that they need to be educated on the ways of this world. And when that moment happens, dear friends, I want you to look them dead in the eye and say, losers, I bet I'm smarter than you and I can prove it. And then hit them with this. Did you know in 1783, the very first hot air balloon took off with a sheep, a duck, and a rooster on board? It's true. It's true. The Montgolfier brothers, who invented the hot air balloon, were inspired by their laundry lifting from a fire's heat. The inaugural flight took animal passengers, as it was unknown how flying at high altitudes would affect humans. The animal passengers landed safely, but the sheep ended up on top of the rooster. Well, yeah. Now, I know roosters can't really fly, but, he could glide down and flutter. The duck would be fine. If I'm the sheep, I'm wondering, why'd you send me up here? And then after you have left them wowed, nay, slack-jawed with your superior knowledge, I want you to look at them again and say, not only am I smarter than you losers, I'm funnier too. Then drop this little nugget on them. A little boy wanted $100 badly and prayed for 2 weeks, but nothing happened. Then he decided to write God a letter requesting the $100. When the postal authorities received the letter addressed to God USA, they decided to send it to President Biden. The president was so impressed and touched and amused that he instructed his secretary to send the little boy a $5 bill. President Biden thought this would appear to be a lot of money to a little boy. The little boy was delighted with the $5 and sat down to write a thank you note to God, which read, Dear God, thank you very much for sending me the money. However, I noticed that for some reason you had to send it through Washington, D.C., and as usual, those jerks deducted $95. Here's John Barry. Welcome back, Buzzers. It's time for sports, brought to you by the Clay County Recreation Center. And last night in the Hive, both varsity Yellow Jacket and Lady Yellow Jacket team were in action. No JV teams last night as Blue Ridge Early College came to town, and it was domination all the way around. The Lady Jackets pick up the win 61-15 over the Lady Bobcats. In between games, head coach for the Yellow Jackets, Michael Cottrell, was honored for his 600th career victory, which happened opening night against Hiawassee Dam. And last night, he added to that. 601 came for the coach and the Yellow Jackets as Hayesville gets a 50-point win over Blue Ridge, 80-30 in that one. It was a score fest. I think maybe all but one or two Yellow Jackets put points on the board. It was just Coach, I talked to him after the game. He was really proud of the effort. He said that looked more like a Hayesville team, the way they played, the way they passed the ball, played with intensity, and he said that he could tell they were having fun out there. So it was a good night in the Hive. Now let's change gears. Look forward to tonight. Western Carolina looks for its sixth straight victory to open the 2023-2024 season tonight as the Catamounts open a 3-game road swing visiting Tennessee Tech at the Hooper Elbin Center in Cookeville, Tennessee. Tip-off is scheduled for 7 p.m. in a game that will be broadcast on ESPN+. So you will be able to watch if you have an ESPN Plus account, which I does. So I may tune in to that if I'm not working on some other stuff. You know how that goes. And that, dear friends, is a look at sports, once again brought to you by the Clay County Recreation Center. Little Texas, here comes Santa Claus. And you know what? Here comes your bozo news. Today's bozo comes to us from Boston, Massachusetts, where I was waiting. He didn't play it twice today. You get to keep your job today. Boston, Massachusetts, where Juan Lopez was on the run from the cops who had tried questioning him on an assault and battery charge. He led them on a chase in his Toyota Camry, eventually losing them and ditching the Camry in a shopping center parking lot. Now, y'all listen to this. It was at that point, for reasons known only to the bozo mind, that he walked into a wireless store and asked if they were hiring. They were, and the manager took him into his office for an interview. It went well enough that the manager asked our bozo to fill out an application which he was working on when the cops spotted the Camry in the parking lot. Next thing you know, there are cops and a K-9 officer checking out the area. The manager steps outside to see what's going on, and when the cops explain what is going on, he tells him he has the guy they're looking for inside. And there he was, still working on the application. He was busted. You know, how do you go from running from the cops? I think I'm going to apply for a job. Now, bravo to him for trying to, get a job, but it's not really smart. But I do have exclusive audio as he was led out of the store where he had just applied for the job in shackles. Johnny Paycheck, take this job and shove it. This survey here is a little frightening. 40% of people would save their dog over a foreign tourist. Imagine this, all right, just put yourself in this situation. There's a high-speed bus barreling towards you with no signs of slowing down. Your dog and a foreign tourist stand in its path, deer in the headlights style, just staring. You can only save one. Which do you choose? 40%. 40% of surveyed people faced with this hypothetical question said they would save their dog's life rather than the foreigner's, according to researchers at Georgia Regents University and Cape Fear Community College. That number is higher for women at about 45%. Look, I love my dogs, right? But I'm not one of these people that equate animal life with human life. So you got to think, folks, that human is human and has family, and, the dog, I understand you love your pets, but 40% of people? Now, I wonder, that just was foreigners. What if it's a local? I need to contact these people. Time now for a 2 for Tuesday double shot from Chris Stapleton by request. Requested double shot from Chris Stapleton there. So last night after the ball game, I was headed home, and I take Fort Embry, or Hembry, however, it's Fort Embry, right? And my daughter and I were like, man, something's burning. I smell something burning. And we got up there was a structure fire, like a house fire. She was really upset, thinking that somebody may be hurt or dead and lost their home. And so apparently what I'm seeing on the reports is that was a training session. So that's what I'm hoping. But if you saw that last night too, that's what I'm seeing right now. Anyway, I don't know for sure, but let's hope that was the case. Now let's turn our attention to country music on this day. We just heard from the man. Chris Stapleton in 2020 was at number 1 on the U.S. country chart with his 4th studio album, Starting Over. It's been 3 years ago. Wow. Back in 2006, Kimberly Rhodes from the group Little Big Town married Steven Schlappman. 2001, Garth Brooks was at number 1 on the U.S. country chart with Scarecrow, his 9th studio album. Singles released from this album include Beer Run, Wrapped Up in You, and Squeeze Me. That's back in 2001. Man, I was fresh out of high school when that was going on. And on this day in 1972, Charlie Rich recorded Behind Closed Doors, which went on to give Rich his first number 1 hit on the country charts. Some radio stations banned the record initially as being too racy. Now, we're not racy here. We love racing. Here's Charlie Rich, Behind Closed Doors. That's going to do it for hour number 1, but don't you fret, dear friends. We still have 2 full hours to go. Coming up in hour number 2, we'll take a look at political chaos from around the world, including, here's just a little mixture. The homeland, for me, New York City, and Fruit Loops. What? What can I possibly be talking about? Stay tuned. We have all of those stories and more in hour number 2. And probably a Christmas song or 2. And, of course, more double shots from your favorite country music artists. Go ahead and text a friend. Tell them to tune in. Let them know about this crazy show we call The Morning Buzz. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't you go anywhere. Just turn it up and leave it. Welcome back, Buzzers. I didn't have the mic on. I was like, I'm not hearing myself. Turn the mic on, dummy. Oh, your buddy Trav sitting here on a cold Tuesday morning if you are listening live. Blue skies, though. It looks like just a typical late fall day, even though it's not late fall. I guess technically we're in the middle of fall. But anyway, blue skies and it is cold. If you're listening on demand, I don't know what the situation is, so you're on your own. I do know this. It's hour 2. Coming up in this hour, we will take a look at political chaos from around the world, including, well, The old man in charge, he's figured everything out. Simple solution. I'll tell you all about that. Also, I don't know what's going on in Ireland. We got a couple of stories. And somebody, an established, well-known name, has endorsed a newcomer. I'll tell you all about that. But first, as we do every day in Hour 2, we got to get in touch with Jesus. Because we need Jesus before we talk politics. Today's 389 Country Gospel Spotlight song comes to us from Vern Gosden. Welcome back, Buzzers. Time to dial up a little political chaos. Well, once again, a company is virtue signaling here as it's showing its alliance with the trans movement and targeting children. This time, it's Kellogg's with their popular children's cereal, Fruit Loops. What am I talking about? Well, I'm glad you asked. Fruit Loops has partnered with BGC Canada, formerly the Boys and Girls Club of Canada, to give away free digital books for families, and they're advertising that the books have diversity, equity, and inclusion content. But that's not all. Fine print says that the material isn't appropriate for children. So here's the little ad here. Our digital library is open and free. With the purchase of specially marked Fruit Loops cereal, internet access required. Content is suitable for ages 13 and up. Your family can learn how incredibly colorful and diverse the world can be with our ED&I family-centric content curated by BGC Canada. Content suitable for ages 13 and up. Now, further explanation on the website says that children under 13 must be accompanied by an adult to pursue the content. And yet, the website doesn't have categories for anyone over 13. Users must be 13 years of age or older. Well, it does. If they say if under 13 years of age, users are to be accompanied by an adult. So, okay, here's their age ranges. Ages 3 to 7, ages 4 to 8, ages 8 to 12. Kids can then peruse the library or choose from a list compiled by Kellogg's, one of which looped together on gender empowerment. That's the name of the book. Now, to be fair, much of the gender empowerment section focuses on the education for girls, but instead of empowering women, the site chooses to say it's empowering gender because we aren't allowed to acknowledge the concept of woman. And if you're wondering, this isn't Kellogg's first dance with this kind of stuff. Frosted Flakes mascot Tony the Tiger also caused a stir with his appearance with infamous Budweiser killer Dylan Mulvaney at the Tony Awards earlier this year. Well... there's so many jokes here, but then we're told, they're not coming after our children. They're just trying to educate our children. Really? Really? There's a reason that the current generation, 21% identify as part of the LGBTQIA plus squared divided by group. If you don't think that it's brainwashing, you're crazy. Oh, they're just more comfortable in coming out now. No, it's a religion. They are recruiting just like the Army. So, there you go. Back to the music now before I bust an blood vessel in my eyeball. That's what I was trying to say. Luke Combs, Double Shot, starting off with She Got the Best of Me. Double Shot from Luke Combs there on a 2 for Tuesday. Well, I've always thought that when things get bad here, I would just escape to the motherland of Ireland. And, well, I'm starting to have second thoughts. I don't know where you go. Let me tell you what, let's see. Irish Green Party Senator Pauline O'Reilly, this is what she said in her speech she gave about a bill that goes against hate speech. We are restricting freedom for the common good, restricting freedom and censoring views on gender identity if those views create discomfort. So if someone says, hey, you will refer to me as she, and they are, 6'8", 320 pounds with a full beard and enough chest hair to make a squirrel happy, if you don't refer to them as she, and they feel discomfort, if this bill passes in Ireland, you're in trouble. The common good. The common good. That's the way the communists always sell things, right? Is for the common good. I heard some of her speech yesterday, and she was talking about, look, we say we're free, but there's restrictions on that freedom all the time and things you can't do. But this is attacking free speech. This is, I don't know. What is going on in the world? Why are they cowering down to these? This push for hate speech laws comes on the heels of a riot in Dublin last week that started because a Muslim migrant who was supposed to be deported in 2003 but somehow stayed and got citizenship stabbed multiple little kids. Now, instead of responding to the ideology that led to actual murder, the government's trying to imprison Irishmen who won't tolerate little kids being stabbed. But why is this? Why do these woke leaders think they will save their country through restricting freedom? Now, the answer is very important, okay? Here, this person on X nails it. Affluent woke white women have caused more global suffering than Genghis Khan, and yet I wake up every day and the world still hasn't acknowledged it. They're just, I don't know. I don't know what stops this nonsense. I'll tell you what stops this nonsense. When we stop voting these people in, I know this is in Ireland, but let's not act like this doesn't happen here. We keep voting these people in that just, this is terrible, this is terrible. And the actual terrible thing they don't address. We need to address this. These men are mad. Why are they mad? Well, they're mad because this Muslim guy stabbed little kids. Oh, well, we need to get them in line so they're not mad. Well, what about we address the stabbing of little kids? Shut your mouth. Get back in the corner where you belong. It's eventually going to break one way or another. Something's going to give, folks. Well, a member of the establishment has just endorsed a newcomer anti-establishment mover, and the rhino didn't even know it. What am I talking about? Well, America's most popular rhino and never-Trumper, Mitt Romney, was asked on CBS's Person-to-Person program who he would support for president in 2024 of the Republicans and potential Democrats. While Romney was not about to hand out any endorsement or, in his case, the kiss of death, right? He was very clear about who he would not support for president. From the story, Mitt Romney says he will vote for the Democrats if President Trump or Vivek is the nominee. So, importantly for Romney, Trump is already off the table, so Nora O'Donnell is asking him which remaining Republican he would vote for. He said, I'd be personally happy to support any one of the Republicans, maybe not Vivek, but the others that are running are acceptable to me, and I'd be happy to vote for them. Yeah, they're acceptable for you, because they're just like you. So if you're Donald Trump or Vivek Ramaswamy, this is as good as an endorsement as any, right? If I'm Vivek, I'm saying, look, he puts me in the same category as Trump. If they lock Trump up, I'm the next best thing. So there you go. Maybe I can get Romney to speak out against this show. That would be the biggest commercial I have. Let's jump back into the music. Let's feel a little festive this morning with the old Christmas classic from Jim Ed Brown, Bigfoot Rides with Santa. That one gets me every time. Bigfoot Rides with Santa. It makes me think of the movie Rudolph, right, with the Bumble, because it's basically Bumble is Yeti, right, which is like the cold weather Bigfoot. How many of you have heard that one before? Bigfoot Rides with Santa. Here's an interesting thing. I've got a couple of versions in the old Christmas catalog of that one, so you could be hearing that on another show, a totally different version. And I told you yesterday, the closer we get to Christmas, the more Christmas music we will play. Now, if you follow us on Facebook, you need to check it out, our latest post. And if you don't follow us, you need to follow us. And let's just say Marty had a long day yesterday, and he does not like the cold. So he's kind of pushed back his plans for today. Don't you go anywhere, dear friends. I will be right back, and we will continue looking at political chaos. Welcome back, buzzers. You know what time it is. I do believe it's time for a Joe Biden update. Well, that's debatable. Let me tell you what, Uncle Joe, he has a solution. Look, we're all fighting inflation, right? I mean, I don't care what tax bracket you find yourself in. Things are, even if you're the richest of the rich, you're starting to notice, wow, things are more expensive than they used to be. Well, I say richest of the rich. Elon Musk probably has no idea what anything costs. You know, the old slogan, if you have to ask how much it costs, then it's too expensive. He never asks. He knows. Could you imagine that? Anyway, President Biden acknowledged yesterday that prices are still too high and argued that companies should lower them after an 18% jump in consumer costs since he took office. I have a solution. Lower your prices. The American people are having a hard time putting food on the table. It's not right. It's working. I'm not joking. So, look, folks, obviously, I can't do anything about it. It's these companies. They're charging you too much. He said, we know that prices are still too high for too many things, that times are still too tough for too many families. We've made progress, but we have more work to do, Biden added. Let me be clear. To any corporation has not brought their prices back down, even as inflation has come down. Even supply chains have been rebuilt. It's time to stop the price gouging and give the American consumer a break. Let me tell you something, Joe. He just said that. Let me be clear to any corporation has not brought their prices back down even as inflation has come down. Let me speak directly. Joe, this is directly to you. If the prices have not come down, then inflation has not come down. You see, sir, they work together. When prices come down, that means inflation has come down. When inflation comes down, that means prices have gone down. You can't just declare inflation has come down and then prices magically come down. That's kind of like saying we have won a war and then just keep fighting it for another 20 years, right? That's not, you can say whatever, but reality is reality. The prices of some goods, such as food products, are expected to decline in the coming months, but periods of general deflation are rare in U.S. history. Biden previously used his bully pulpit to try to pressure oil companies to take action to lower gas prices last year. I remember that. Mr. President, the economy's in the tank. Nobody can afford anything. What are you going to do? I'm going to tell people to lower their prices. It's genius. Why didn't we think of that, y'all? Double shot there from Lady A on a 2 for Tuesday. Well, it's the Battle of the Cackles. In a poll of 2,851 voters conducted November 15th and 16th, 24% said they would vote for Kamala Harris, while 13% said they would pick Clinton if Joe Biden did not run. Now, when you look at the lineup of Democrats, it's not hard to see that they really don't have any good options. That's why I've said it'll be Gavin Newsom, and that's why you hear Michelle Obama's name floated around. They don't have a farm team. Now, I'm not saying that things look great on the Republican side either. I feel like there are some good candidates over there. On the Democrat side, it's basically they've not built up any candidates because all they do is trash Trump. Like, they run on the platform, we're not Trump. And can anybody argue that? Somebody tell me a Democrat platform that they're running on, that they're pro. Not anti, but pro. Pro getting Trump, right? So if you're down to these two, the Battle of the Cackle. Oh my gosh, could you imagine if they were on the same ticket? Imagine. First of all, Hillary would not be vice president to Kamala. She just would not. But golly, the cackle. Why? I don't know why these voters didn't even throw Newsom a bone. It's almost like the Democrats want to inflict the maximum amount of pain on the United States as possible if these are their top two. Oh, my goodness. Back to the story. The poll also showed that only 42% of voters think Biden is mentally fit to be president, which is generous, if you've paid attention to what's going on. So these were Democratic voters, obviously. So they're just happy to choose anyone who's able to complete a sentence. Now, Kamala, she can complete one. It won't make any sense, but she can complete one, and the way you know when she's done is when she laughs. Golly, imagine if they joined forces. Oh, goodness. What a time to be alive, isn't it? Huh? When we're down to looking like Donald Trump, Joe Biden, or Hillary Clinton, or Kamala. That's the pride of this country. That's the best of the best. No wonder everybody's depressed. You look around and see who we've put in charge. Flatland Calvary dancing around the fire. So, looks like it's finally time for New York businesses to invest in those extra large chairs and some adult-sized booster seats. You're going to need them now, as this new anti-discrimination lawsuit has gone into effect in New York City. What am I talking about? Well, from the New York Post, New York City law banning discrimination based on height and weight goes into effect. No joke. You can't discriminate against people based on their height or weight anymore. What's the purpose you can discriminate? Where was that? Can somebody show me, okay, these are the reasons you can discriminate against somebody. Did we really need this? From the story, a new city law that bans discrimination against someone because of their height or weight went into effect last week, 6 months after Mayor Eric Adams first signed the legislation, to which someone on X just absolutely had the perfect reply to all this. Heavy news. We had such short notice.
He's awful. I don't even know how to listen to him. He makes my mornings worse.
The law adds those two categories to the list of characteristics that are protected from housing, job, and public discrimination, alongside other things like age, gender, race, religion, and sexual orientation. Again, where's the list of things that you are allowed to discriminate against? I don't think that list exists. They say all New Yorkers, regardless of their body shape or size, deserve to be protected from discrimination under the law. Body size discrimination affects millions of people every year. Identity theft is not a joke, Jim, which contributes to harmful disparities in medical treatments and outcomes, blocking people from access to opportunities in employment, housing, and public accommodations, and deepening existing injustices that people face. How are you being short? How is keeping you from getting a job? Like, not in the NBA? Is that it? Look, I'm colorblind, right? So I seriously doubt Sherwin-Williams is going to give me a job, right? Makes sense. Should I say, discrimination and sue them? Maybe I should. Maybe that's retirement. I'm coming for you, paint shops. Similar laws can be found in Michigan and Washington State, while lawmakers in Massachusetts and New Jersey consider the measure as well. Quick question, though, again. What about roller coasters or water slides? Those have height and weight limits, right? Are we just going to trust the science that obesity is love, and when we send Lizzo down the water slide, she will, get stuck? Can a dwarf ride the roller coaster at Coney Island even though he'll get thrown into his death? I mean, what does this mean? What do you do here? How do you follow through with this? Where's the limitations? There are none. Welcome to America, where science doesn't matter and common sense doesn't exist. Taylor Hicks, Porch Swing. That's going to do it for hour number 2, but don't you fret. We still have a full hour to go, full of chaotic news from around the world, including we're finally going to get to the bottom of something that we all argue about. The experts have weighed in. And we have the crazy news story of the day, plus the BK Concrete Connection Racing Report. I'll be back in 3 minutes. Don't you go anywhere. Welcome back, Buzzers. Your buddy Trav here for hour number 3 of the Morning Buzz. Starting to warm up a little bit. I don't think we've gotten to freezing yet, but it's pretty outside at least. Coming up in this hour, you can expect the crazy news story of the day, the BK Concrete Connection Racing Report, and chaotic news from around the world. We're going to talk about home ownership, texting, iPhones. What else we got? Oh, and we're going to settle one of the great debates experts have weighed in. But we begin this hour. It's the 9 o'clock hour with our 90s at 9. Today we land on Joe D. Messina. I love that song. Joe D. Messina, our 90s at 9 spotlight today. I absolutely love that song. I don't know why, but that seemed really loud. Are y'all hearing, there's inconsistencies on the volume levels on my end this morning? Anyway, as housing prices continue their relentless ascent and interest rates hit record highs, a new trend has emerged among younger generations eager to embrace unconventional solutions to secure their slice of the American dream. Dubbed house hacking, this practice involves renting out parts of owned properties to generate additional income, such as a sublet, to help subsidize their mortgage. A recent report by Zillow, surveying over 6,500 recent homebuyers between April and July, uncovered a remarkable shift in attitudes towards house hacking. Nearly 4 in 10 new buyers deem this practice as crucial opportunity, marking an 8% point increase over the past 2 years. The allure of house hacking is especially pronounced among millennials and Gen Z, with over half of those in the survey expressed enthusiasm for the concept. I don't know if I would be enthused. Now, here's the thing. I don't know how anybody's buying a house right now, especially if you're just starting out. And you can look back at the good old days, right? And they were buying homes for like $3,000, $6,000 for a nice one. And you can say, oh, yeah, but, everything was equal. The dollar, money didn't go as far and blah, blah, blah. But the percentage, when you look it's we are way underwater now compared to like in the 60s, 50s, and 60s when they would buy a house. Yeah, they didn't make as much, but the percentage of what they paid for their mortgage is nothing like it is now. Now, one reason we've put ourselves in this bind because everybody thinks that they have to have the big brick house on the hill with the white picket fence and the half-mile paved driveway. But what has happened is even the basic home now is just outrageous, and rent is crazy. So I don't know how anybody just starting out is making it. I honestly don't. So here's one reason, or one way, they're buying a house and then renting out some of it. Now, if I owned a home that had like a finished basement with like apartment and stuff down there, that would be a great idea for the right tenant to help offset the mortgage payment. But I'm not in that situation. But if you find yourself struggling and you have that situation or can have that situation, it's something to think about. More and more Americans are doing it. To me, that says a lot about the state of our country, right? And it just makes me think of the whole Klaus Schwab thing where he said, you will own nothing and you will like it. Looking like we're headed there wide open, isn't it? I mean, it's just, and what changes? How do we change this? Anybody got any suggestions as to, I mean, obviously what could happen is like in 2008 when the housing market bubble busts, but then look at all the chaos and the heartache that caused. But the thing is, these new homes are selling. It's not selling to new homeowners. So if you're out there and you're trying to get into a home, good luck, buddy. Dolly Parton does not text. And she has no problem leaving you on red. The country music icon gave a relatable explanation for why she refuses to text. This was on the Drew Barrymore show. I really hate I missed it. I'm a low-tech girl in a high-tech world, the 9 to 5 singer said in a clip posted to Instagram. I don't want to talk to everybody that wants to talk to me. I don't text because I don't want to have to answer, she continued. If somebody calls me, I'll answer it if I want to talk to them, or I'll call them back when I can. Otherwise, I've got too much to think about than to clutter my mind up with everything else. Okay. Parton, age 77, further elaborated that her decision not to text is due to personal preference rather than a lack of intelligence. I'm certainly not a stupid person. I could learn it if I wanted to, but I'd rather just have my fax machine and call my creative staff to my crew. Call in my creative stuff to my crew. Fax machine? In the words of Michael Scott, why not just send it on a dinosaur? So if somebody's give you Dolly's number and you think I'm going to text her, I got some bad news for you. But I got good news for you. How about a double dose of Dolly? Well, Apple customers have been slowly figuring out the newest features from the iOS 17 update, including one that has raised safety concerns. Similar to AirDrop, the new iPhone feature Name Drop allows users to quickly share their contact information with nearby iPhones and Apple Watches rather than having to hand over their phone to a new person to exchange the info. Now, to share from one iPhone to another, all you have to do is hold up the display of your phone a few centimeters from the top of the other person's device, and they will sync. Now, here's the problem. If you live, let's say you live in New York City and you're on the subway, or if you're in Atlanta and you're on MARTA or whatever, and, people are sitting pretty close together and you've just got your phones in your hand, apparently people are accidentally sharing information with strangers. So they have figured out a way to go in and cancel that automatic setting. It's default. That's the default setting, is you just hold your display to the top of another iPhone and bam, they can add your stuff. So just know that all this great new technology is not great new technology. And y'all can make fun of us Android users all you want. I don't have to worry about walking by somebody and automatically giving them my phone number. There's some guy, there's a guy named Bobby. Bobby, if you're listening, I have your old phone number. And Lord love you, buddy. You've got a lot of people that are needing to get in contact with you, and I don't think many of them are friendly. I'll just say this, the EMC calls every month. So, Bobby, if you're listening, take my number off of your accounts, please. It's time now for the crazy news story of the day. you have a real Christmas tree? Thinking about getting a real Christmas tree? Pay attention, dear friends. Pay attention. A shocked woman brought new meaning to Christmas prayers after a biblical plague of praying mantises infested her holiday pine ahead of the Yuletide. Now, you can see this video on TikTok where it's racked up 4.3 million views. The caption says, "The time our tree hatched a million friends." An accompanying photo compilation shows the woman's Christmas tree, whose branches are teeming with baby praying mantises, like a decoration Jack Skellington would leave the kids in The Nightmare Before Christmas. In light of the infestation, Andrea, the TikToker, warned viewers to be aware of real tree, and then the final word is missing, of real tree horrors, I guess. TikToker commented, "The fresh pine smell isn't worth this." Another one said, "The tree really said, let us pray." However, others felt that the woman was lucky she got infested with praying mantises, which are known to consume household pests and not another type of bug. One person wrote, "That's actually so cool. I'd prefer mantis over spider any day." Well, I think we would all prefer nothing over anything, right? Unfortunately, though, it's not uncommon for Christmas trees to host such critters. So be careful and shake those trees before you bring them in the house. I actually saw one person taking a leaf blower to theirs before they brought it in. That took care of loose needles and any kind of critter. Smart thinking. And that is today's crazy news story of the day. All right, it's time to settle this. When is the right time to put up the Christmas tree? Now, people debate over this, kind of like fighting over how to hang the toilet paper or how to load the dishwasher, all that. But this one, we need answers. And the answer is, well, there's different ones. Miss Manners, the ultimate etiquette authority, doesn't really specify when you should put up the tree, but does note that it isn't done before Thanksgiving. I agree with that. Your Christmas tree should not go up before Thanksgiving. I mean, to me, that's common sense. Now, then you have the old and new 12 days of Christmas approaches. Now, in days of yore, the 12 days of Christmas started with Christmas Day and wrapped up in January, on January the 6th. Some people still celebrate that. But now, some people have taken that to 12 days before Christmas. So they put their tree up for the 12 days before Christmas and leave it up. Then you have Prince Albert, who said Christmas Eve is when you put the tree up. And a lot of older movies, they put the tree up the day before Christmas, which seems crazy. But I think they would put it up the day before Christmas and leave it until January the 6th. So that was their 12 days of Christmas. Now, the Aussie approach down in Australia, they've established guidelines that a tree is not to be put up before December, but not everyone abides by it. And then in Italy, most people put their tree up the first week of December, and a majority of Americans do that as well. In Italy, December 8th is a national holiday, which gives people time off, and while they're off, they go ahead and just slap up the tree. Now, assuming your own family tradition isn't already firmly in place, Southern Living gets the last word on the best time to put up a Christmas tree. That's because the ultimate authorities on Southern taste on all things mayo and wicker are so darn sensible. So they say, we pass no judgment, but here are the times for when to put up your Christmas decorations. Black Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, is the earliest you should set up a Christmas tree or put up Christmas-specific decorations. Now, I kind of agree with that, but we always Thursday night put the tree up. It's not decorated. All the decorations come out on that Black Friday, but Thanksgiving night, the tree goes up it's glowing while we watch Home Alone. So I think I'm pretty close to right there, according to Southern Living. When do you put your tree up, and how wrong are all of these? George Strait loves his Christmas cookies. I do too. Well, did you have pirates in the San Francisco Bay on your bingo card? If not, you should have. This from Zero Hedge. Crime in San Francisco is so bad, there's now actual pirates in the bay. So let's take a look at what's going on here. This past summer, a spree of robberies plagued at the 800-foot wide Oakland estuary Oakland Alameda estuary involving stolen motorboats that were used to prey on larger vessels and marinas. In one instance, thieves made off with 3 inflatable dinghies from a yacht, which was part of the yacht club. Burglars hit at least 4 other Bay Area yacht clubs, a sailing center, and several owners living on their boats. Now, they say it's just homeless people living on boats. For some reason, nobody wants to deal with it. The Oakland police say it's an Alameda's issue. The Alameda police say it's an Oakland side of the estuary. So, what's going on in San Francisco? They've got literal pirates in the bay. It's like a Saturday Night Live skit, when Saturday Night Live was funny. More from the story. These people are just common criminals living on illegal anchor-off vessels, committing robberies within the San Francisco Bay. This is what former harbor master of Oakland, Brock DeLepp, said. Anchor-offs or anchor-outs are boats that are illegally anchored without a permit. Outboard motor shop owner Craig Jacobson said thieves struck 2 of his boats at his business in Oakland and made off with thousands of dollars in parts and electronics. He said, "We recovered it at the same anchor-off flotilla. I know of about 20 boats stolen. They've all been found in the same place. For a couple of months, it was serious. We got calls every day about people having their boats stolen. They go into the marinas at night, take the small inflatables and stuff, and take them over to their homeless encampment," he said. So they're literally doing the same thing with boats as they've been doing with the Kias, right? Stealing them and then using them to commit other crimes. Pirates. Do you know why pirates are so cranky? Because they are. Here's Kenny Chesney, pirate flag. Double shot from Kenny Chesney is how we ended. He had a little help from Uncle Cracker there. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Morning Buzz. Don't forget to keep a check on 389country.com throughout the day for news you can use. Always new, always free. Stories already there, more rolling in. And the rundown from last night's basketball games will be there soon. Josh David coming up. Make sure to keep us on as we are the perfect soundtrack to your day. Looks like, he's after my own heart. Ian Munsick coming up for Josh David. I'll be back with you bright and early tomorrow morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. We will do it all again, my friend. Until then, remember, wrestling is real. Politicians are fake. You guys stay warm. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday, everybody.